Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Tuesday, May 14th. Today is my niecey Pooh's birthday, my namesake. Well, about 50% anyway. And I hope she's having a fantastic day. I also hope that you're having a fantastic day. Still Taurus season going strong. I hope you're enjoying the comforts of life as a Taurus would. The finer things in life, the delicacies, the luxuries, the comforts, and securities, because we know Taurus is a fixed sign and also Earth, so nothing wrong with a little posh in your practicality, right? Yeah. I would say that for me personally, usually I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's already. But I don't know, it seems like time is moving a bit slow to me. Even the day seems like it's longer. I don't know why that is. And it's only Tuesday when usually I feel like I've spent around 2 times and it's Wednesday, which I guess in about a few hours it will be. But I don't know, there's something about that, about time right now feels a little, or maybe it's just my energy not being as eager about time, like still being a little bit more relaxed. But anyway, let's see what we got today. As we talk about time and the 3D world, you know, Saturn being the ruler of time. That is so funny. That is funny. What is it then? Interesting. It's about closing out some cycle, a big one, something to be commended, definitely to be recognized, even if it's only by you. World card. Closing out a big cycle. And again, like maybe that's what it is. Considering the big power surge that just happened and everything, maybe that was a closing energy. Oh, and what I can also say is that Mercury is finally direct. Woohoo, wouldn't you say? Yesterday, I think it was completely, I think yesterday was the absolute last day of post shadow. So we should be pretty clear and out of the woods at this point. Could be something with that too, as to why I'm picking up that energy of time and the frequency. But Mercury being direct would really feel more like a speed up, you know, than a slow down. Is Saturn in retro? Is it right now? Saturn is in, it might be actually. It might actually be, I know Pluto is Saturn, or Saturn just in Aquarius or Pisces, or Saturn or Pisces? I don't know. Something about Saturn though. Like something about Saturn is significant here, and obviously with the world, you know, the 3D world, which is governed, you know, by that energy. Certainly this card for sure. Maybe it's the closing of that spirit of eagerness that almost veering into the lane of anxiety, and something about that energy has, or those frequencies overall that are not very present and grounding. Maybe there was a meltdown. That's what the solar energy is, or did burn off of us to a great degree, is like whatever that residue is. And maybe it's just a matter of like feeling, as I said, more relaxed when you're used to carrying a different undertone in your energetic force field, of always feeling like, what time is it? What do I need to do? What's next? Where do I have to go? You know, like the white rabbit syndrome from Alice in Wonderland. Just always late and always, on to the next. Maybe something about that is happening in real time. And then we got the Ace of Pentacles, which I love. Come on, somebody, with this. This is like a big exchange. This is, I would say, big energy with the Ace of Pentacles being like a spiritual gift or material gifting of a spiritual nature, or that has some spiritual context or connection, whether it be resources or capital that would fund some spiritual operation. And by spiritual, of course, I don't mean religious, but whatever it is that would be supportive of the supreme essence of you, or whatever your supreme purpose may be, or whatever that underwriting of security and stability could be for whatever you feel designed to do, is what I'm sensing in this regard. It feels big. It feels big. This could be a reward for a closed cycle, or again, the resources for the next one that is set to begin. Four of Pentacles. Yeah, like maybe that's the energy. This is the energy. It's like leaving behind this, and here's the slowdown. That's funny. But it's leaving behind this Four of Pentacles energy where, it is a fixation on time and measurement and focus, and maybe even being very conservative about what you spend and how you spend and where you spend and and when you spend, and not exclusively money, but again, time, energy, attention. Is not a very relaxed frequency, though. It's somebody that is highly conscious and maybe even a bit hyper-focused. This is a super focus, though. So here is the escalation and elevation that I sense. Hyper-focused, super focused. And although it seems like Four of Pentacles is a greater amount of pentacles, the Ace is the greater magnitude. That means like you could be focused on 4 different ways to make $1 here and still not have it all collectively make you feel secure, and feel stable. yet you could have one singular focus that could be infinitely prosperous. So it definitely could be something here about I actually have evidence for that based off of my prayer, so that makes a lot of sense about streamlining your, maybe even your streams of income. Perhaps being too hyperactive is what could be slowing down the flow of prosperity, where if you take all of your energy and time, and or more of your energy and time at least, and funnel it into one big thing that packs a big punch, overall it'll be more satisfying, gratifying, and productive and prosperous, with the Ace of Pentacles here. So that could be very practically speaking, could also be spiritually speaking, certainly energetically speaking. Could even be, again, about your focus, how many things are pulling at your attention. What can you close the door on without feeling guilt or remorse or fear or obligation even? And where could you spend more time, more of your time, your most valuable time at least, doing things, devoted to things that have a greater return? Interesting. All right, let's see what else we got. That's funny because I thought it was about to flip backwards, how it kind of spun off my finger. But alas, it did not. And there's the multiplication right there. Ah, that's why it almost flipped backwards, because there's conflict here or competition. So this is generational wealth. And what it could be, based on how I was just expressing this spread here, is it could very well be inner conflict about releasing some of these what's the right word? What do we call them? Maybe to kind of take your hand off the wheel a little bit more. Because certainly with his hand wrapped around this one pentacle here and balancing himself on the two and trying to keep the one on his head stable, imagine this coming into your realm of reality. You wouldn't even be in a position to receive it, because you're trying to hold on to the smaller things. Something about quantity versus quality here. And again, the ideal of stability based on how many, could be based on the number of streams of income, or even just keeping a tight grip on one thing that seems to be, that gives someone a sense of strong security and stability, when there may be an opportunity to release that, relinquish it perhaps, for something that would ultimately lead to an even greater return with the Ten of Pentacles. You're talking about the difference between holding on to a job to creating a very successful enterprise, complete with stocks, if that even matters, trust funds and college funds and generational wealth for the ones behind you. So there could be a conflict of transition between the acceptance here. That makes sense with what I was saying before of like releasing some of the stress or readjusting to the frequency of stresslessness when you're kind of used to being under pressure about what's next and what to do and how many balls to keep up in the air that you're juggling at once, and it's almost like an internal conflict as to how to be okay with being better than okay, because it feels strange. It's like it literally could be the difference between when you go from having like a hectic job where you're on go from the time you clock in until you go home, on your feet, or gotta be tapped in the whole time, may not even take a lunch or have a working lunch or whatever. I've had all types of jobs like that. To now working on your own time or working from home or not working at all, you almost feel a bit guilty or displaced, like I feel like I should be doing something. Or even just primitively speaking, going on vacation, taking a week or two off, and you almost feel like you're like something strange because you almost can't even turn off, as a matter of fact. Even though you have no obligation to work in that moment, you're off or you're not there anymore, you've moved on, but something in you still feels like I should be doing something. Something about that here. Let's see what else. Moon card, that almost was a little struggle juggle too. Yeah. Some type of fear or anxiety about a lack of productivity by conventional standards, though. Because clearly prosperity is still happening here with less energy invested, just a higher quality of energy singularly invested with the Ace of Pentacles here, and now multiplied at the 10. So let's see what's at the bottom. Yeah, it's like moving on. There's a transition happening or has happened. It probably is happening, and that's what the call for adjustment is, because it's like almost like a rocky boat, like whoa. You know how it feels in the water, even when you first get in the boat and you almost, afraid it'll tip over with your weight or whatever. Something about that here that just, it doesn't feel as stable and safe and grounded as the ground, the earth does, the 3D world, the soil under your feet, the concrete under your feet. The moon card is representative of water energy, either Cancer or Pisces. Pisces is the realization of dreams into reality, though. So it seems like, there is an adjustment needed with the manifestation of of prosperity. That's interesting. Yeah, like as I said, like really allowing yourself to transition from this feeling that, because what it is, it's almost, a spirit of unworthiness when you think about it in the way that I describe it. Like you're on vacation but you don't even feel like you can truly relax. Like, you're on vacation. Why don't you feel worthy of relaxation, or of detaching? Why don't you feel, what would be the source of guilt there, or even shame? And it's from conditioning. And so that's what's being transitioned from, this conditioning of what it means to earn, what the reconditioning of work and rewards. Because, in the 3D world, it's very much so, you work hard, you get rewards and results. But I've said this many times before, there's a different, I feel like I've said it before, but I feel like it's really crystallizing now, finally, that the ideal of having to work your fingers or body or even your mind to the bone, or spirit to the bone, for consider what seems like much but is really not much in the grand scheme of what you've invested to receive it, to almost having it come fairly easy, or what feels like almost too easy at this magnitude of the ace, and then even the 10. It's like you would almost be practically conditioned to resist it, feeling as though there hasn't been an even exchange for it, or that it may even be good to be true, because you can't see the direct correlation between how this magnitude of gifting and abundance and prosperity matches what you have invested for it thus far. But certainly, I've said this before as well, like the exchange of energy for reward is different on a spiritual spectrum than it is to us in the 3D human perspective, because of our conditioning. So that's where the discomfort lies, is like really taking your hands off of the wheel of feeling like there has to be a control, think like an equation, like some type of variable of control for some reason that would make it make sense as to why you are worthy to receive so much favor, so much money, so much abundance, so much. It's like, I've told this story before as well, but when I moved to New York and I applied for, I had applied for a couple of jobs, but the one that I finally was, I finally got the job, and it was time for the offer. I worked for AOL in Soho at the time. And I was being more or less asked, like, what my requirements were, like what was my salary range. And I was talking myself backwards from what I thought, was reasonable. But keep in mind, it was more or less it was my first job in New York, having been there a couple months or whatever, and not really knowing the market all that well yet to know what to expect. And so anyway, the recruiter at the time was like, whoa, don't go backwards, because I had started at a point, but then some part of me was like, almost within that exchange was like, oh man, that might be too much to ask for. And I really wanted a job at that time. I needed to feel comfortable, secure, working in New York City at that time. And I started backtracking. He's like, well, no, we want to go up, not down. And I was pleasantly surprised at the figure that they offered me. It, to date, was still one of the highest salaries I've ever made on a corporate job. So, it's that energy. But where I had come from before then, like I had a lowered expectation of, and also an ignorance as to what it actually costs to live in New York. Because that's the other thing. You might get a great deal of pay, but the cost of living certainly matches it, if not, barely so. So my perspective and perception was skewed. And so, of course, after that, the adjustment, I went into a more creative field after that and independent. So it would have been a hard act to follow after coming from that, that high of a salary, to the point where my conditioning was transformed, because if I had continued on in that path, my expectation was much greater after having made a great salary than it was when I first started out. But before then, you couldn't tell me that I could go ask for what he offered, So it's something about that here where it's like it's time, it's a transitioning happen. It has already occurred in the spiritual perhaps, and now with all this pentacle energy, it's materializing in a way that you really get to prepare yourself to receive, because there's some part of you that is not even, this isn't even on the radar, this magnitude of windfall, abundance, opportunity, advancement, maybe even a burst of energy in terms of your own gifts and talents, you experiencing yourself in a way that you're not quite used to, that as well, because you've been so focused on in one regard and almost a little bit limited, maybe limiting yourself to only, a few options and choices, that opening up to the possibility that, of this magnitude, it may be a bit astounding at best, maybe even a bit alarming, which is why the moon card is here, because I'm sensing some fear-evoking energy where it's like, whoa, you would almost want to be resistant or just extremely nervous, if not about the stability and dependability of whatever is about to be experienced or received, your capability to maintain it, or even, again, your worthiness in the first place to receive it. But Six of Swords is definitely encouraging you to allow yourself to be transported out of, it's moving from one more chaotic energy to a more peaceful and calm one. With sword energy, it's more of a mental thing than anything, like how you think, how you perceive, what you believe about yourself, a mentality coming from one end of the spectrum, going clear across to another, perhaps in a space that you've never, territory you've never charted before or chartered. And with the moon card, there's a certain emotion that's evoked on account of that transition. Ooh, that was almost the devil. Yeah, that's that fear. It's like, man. But here's the balance right here. It's like it's all there, but see how that kind of flipped in the struggle too. Just beware of projections at this time, because that Six of Swords is always a delicate transitional time when you're going from what you've always known and experienced to something completely new. And it could definitely evoke a great deal of insecurity in the transition, before you actually put your feet on land to that destination and it's clear you've arrived, You know, there could, like I said, that boat, that shaky energy of the boat, like, is this safe? Can I trust these waters? Are there sharks in the waters? Am I good? Do I have a life vest? Like, am I straight? But also with the Six of Swords, it speaks of having almost like a spiritual escort to on whatever voyage this may be. So it's like, yeah, you straight, you real straight. You about to be hella straight if you ain't already. You just gotta kind of just sit back and enjoy the ride, And I feel like that's the energy of the anxiety. It's almost that dark passenger of you by way of the moon card, like those more dense psychological frequencies that you're used to being a part of you. Like they were running, it was the undercurrent of your existence even when you didn't consciously engage it. Like there always is this undercurrent of anxiety and eagerness and anticipation and nervousness and all these things that have been running on in the undercarriage of your vessel for some of us that have been the fuel of it itself without us realizing it. And something about whatever has been closed of this cycle is what has kind of filtered that energy out. And then it's almost like you feel strange because you feel like there's something missing that you're used to being a part of you. You don't really know exactly what it is because, again, it could be psychological, which means it's not at the brim of your consciousness. But you also don't know if it should be missing to the point where it almost would incite an eagerness in that regard all over again. Like, I should be doing something. What do you mean I'm okay to just enjoy the ride? Like, what? Are we sure we're going to get there? Do we have enough gas, enough fuel? Like, again, life jackets. Are they on board? Are they on the vessel? It's like, yeah, you good. Four of Wands. Yeah, this is good news. Yeah. Page of Pentacles. Something that may even seem like a small offer at first, or that I feel something in this that, like something, this would make you more comfortable for it to look like this because it makes it more palatable. Like, oh yeah, like what you may have been expecting, like, yeah, okay, like that makes sense type of energy. It makes sense that I would get a Page of Pentacles new start type of offer, something small that can grow, that has potential, but it's not too, astonishing or astounding. I don't know, maybe perhaps your spirit knows exactly how to present this to you in a way that it is more palatable and acceptable, but I sense that this is you holding this ace and maybe even not realizing that that's what you're holding. And I would only hope that it's not a matter of your lack of awareness because, again, of the energies that I'm speaking of which have been left behind, even subconsciously, in that old world order, that old cycle that's completed itself, that it's not a matter of you holding the ace, but wanting to see it or having no broadened perspective to see it as the ace. Maybe even keeping it small. That wouldn't be too beneficial on account of your fears. Whatever this is, it's a great achievement and accomplishment that maybe it's important for me to say you have earned it, even in the ways that you don't see, that it's not clear to you that you have, so that maybe you can stop trying to earn it. Yeah, like trying to work overtime or do extra credit or, really prove yourself at the office to feel like, you know, that was an honest day's work. It's like, something big is shifting here. Like you've done the Four of Wands says that there's been a great feat overcome already at this point to have achieved this level of balance and harmony. So why would you depreciate it and deflect it as anything less grand than what it truly is, unless you don't see yourself in that mirror reflection to be as grand? We don't want to be blocking no blessings now out here. Like, oh no, I'll take the next one. Could be opportunity of a lifetime that you've been waiting on your whole life. Yeah, like, you see that? You see how that flipped up? And you still trying to work for it. You did the work. You did. It's something about imposter syndrome here. Like, who am I to have such luck and abundance and favor? Like, oh, let me put in a few more hours and then I'll feel like, okay, I can take that. I can accept that. But you've done it already. Yeah. Put down the burden, please. Take the pressure off of yourself to earn anything more than what you've already established yourself to be worthy of, been ordained to be worthy of at this point. What is this? It's interesting. Yeah, it just feels like some are carrying unnecessary pressure. And this also comes from years of conditioning, where you have learned or have been groomed to feel that if you ain't working hard, you ain't working. If it's literally not breaking your back, breaking your mind, if you're not the last one to lead the office, in whatever regard, it doesn't have to be like in the conventional sense, but if it's not, blood, sweat, and tears to the bone, then why should you ever feel that you are privy to any return or reward, but certainly not a high level one? But somebody is really missing or either unaware or resistant, back to that Page of Pentacles, to how valuable they actually are. It could even be like somebody, doing everything but their purpose, especially of a spiritual sense. And, you kind of skirt around that thing that you do easily or that is fulfilling to do in terms of like gifts and talents and stuff like that. Because there's no stability in that. There's no security there. It doesn't even make sense. There's nothing in your history or experience or upbringing or exposure that would tell you to lean on that one thing that you do almost effortlessly to be any source of security and stability. But yet it very well could be that one thing that is the gateway to all the things. the thing that'll put you in a position to never truly ever work another day in your life with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, because what you do is not really work. And the Eight of Pentacles in the upright is when you do something that you would almost do for free and it's profitable, it's productive. Imagine it not, I mean, shit, it could be a matter of literally not doing a damn, literally only doing what you want to do. And there's some method or means of residual income coming through here, or windfall of some sort that perhaps gives you, and that's a really big pill to swallow, even as I'm saying it and laughing, because it's like almost preposterous to consider that you would have the option not to work at all if you choose to, or choose not to. That definitely is shame and fear and guilt evoking, like to see everybody else, or many people, most of the world, doing something usually that they don't want to do, and then you actually come into some type of amazing position where like you literally could work or not. And when I say even could work, it's not even a matter of ever clocking in somewhere again that, you know, that you don't. This is like what you could do and would do before you worked for anyone is create your own business, which again doesn't even feel like work. It pretty much feels like home, because it's your foundation and your establishment. But this is having a choice to not even really have to do that, but that would be the only viable option, because somebody that is abundant in this regard is definitely not, unless you just want to work for fun, you know, to go somewhere every day and be on somebody else's time. But it just doesn't even, it's like it doesn't even make sense. You might as well work for what you believe in, what you want to invest in, causes that, you know, enliven your passions than somebody else's bottom line. You know, it doesn't even make sense. And that's on like the most fantastical level, which could be, it really could be. I mean, I don't know. Somebody might really have to, could be somebody that gets to stay home parent, or, you know, what do you call it? Like, I don't even know what to call it. Like a domestic, like, I don't even know, you know, all you have to worry about is your home, pretty much, is the thing. Again, everything is at will, by choice, if you want to, if it pleases you, if you feel like it. But like in the grand scheme of things, as long as your home is straight, it's somebody that literally just could be in a position to just I don't even know, like it's weird. Well, here's the conflict again that I'm probably experiencing in my own energy right now, just trying to make sense of it, to transmit it, because it's so foreign of a concept. Not really, but not to some, but to the majority of creation. That's not how we're conditioned. You know, anybody that doesn't work doesn't eat is the energy. But there's something here where there's some privilege here that somebody is really needing to. Nine of Pentacles, privileged lady energy. And it feels like the conflict truly can be just the acceptance of this newfound freedom, security, and stability, that you don't have to feel like, what I gotta do? Like, what's the catch? Where's the other shoe? When's it gonna drop? You know what I mean? Like, somebody got more than enough money in the bank more than they could even spend in a lifetime. And really the only conflict is how you spend it, to either maintain and or magnify it. But this is wild. And there could be a great deal of competition for it, or you know, some conflict around it that could be projective to your own insecurities about it. But ultimately it would only be a prominent projection if you accept it as truth for yourself. You know, like other people's opinions as to what she do, what don't you do, or why don't you work, or why don't you should put your money here, you should invest in that, or why, you know, like, or challenging whether or not you deserve whatever this is, or however it came about, you know, or trying to get a piece of it. There's that too, feeling entitled to it. That's the King of Wands in some way, shape, or form. Jeez. Yeah. Trying to get a piece of it. And also it could be the anxiety about the returning to despair on account of not overexerting yourself to maintain or multiply whatever this magnitude of material may be. Under the Moon card, yeah, and it's definitely given some type of interference or objection or something along those lines of those that either are in need or are somehow feel like their need, like, yeah, it might be that, like, be mindful of your, because that's how it could manifest in terms of the densities of anxiety and guilt and shame that you could almost feel like in this obligatory space to, like, almost give away your resources, you know, like guiltfully give though. Like, oh, I got all this, I need to, instead of giving out of assignment and with intention and pure motivation, like almost to feel like it's your duty or obligation to give and share, even with those that feel some level, especially with those, I should say, that feel some level of entitlement to it, right up under the family card with the 10 of Pentacles, just because you have it or just because you can. And that's probably the point of me really addressing the whole spirit of insecurity with all of this. Yeah, with all of this newness that could be on the horizon, so that you don't, like, you could be guilted or shamed into feeling like that 10 of Wands energy is yours to bear. You know, like you bear the brunt of the whole family and legacy on your back because you were blessed a certain way, you know? And maybe you do, but it's not on account of what others project for you to shoulder as your responsibility. It's what you assume willingly, without regret, without survivor's guilt or remorse, and without shame or guilt or obligation. It should be purely out of the center of your heart, you know, and at your will. Exactly. Wow. Pure love here. Just as pure as it's blessed down to you is as pure as it gets to pour out from you to whomever you decide, between you and your supreme self or source or whatever, is to you know, benefit from this overflow. it's a very selective and sacred space to be in. So don't you dare feel, and that's how it could, that guilt can, and that really the insecurity can almost metastasize as a growing cancer in your auric field, to feel like ashamed of the way that you are affluent or have ascended or have been advanced in some way, shape, or form. Like, especially when, for some, like I said, back to the imposter syndrome, when some part of you feels like you don't even deserve all this. So that can again materialize itself as a poverty mindset, even with all the riches in the world, but it materializes you almost squandering it away, spending it frivolously, or giving it away to those that will spend it frivolously, or giving it away because you feel obligated, or like it can be very anti-productive, especially if you are being ordained or exalted or anointed in some way to be the keeper of this generational wealth, the trustee, if you will, of it. That is your responsibility to maintain it and magnify it. So if you allow these denser energies, as I've spoken about, to depreciate that value, then you got a different you have a different reckoning to answer for. And it wouldn't be on nobody else, even with the best of intentions. You're the trustee, so it would really be, if you depreciated or devalued yourself back to despair, you'd have to answer to Supreme Source on that, and more importantly to yourself, who would be left to experience it in the 3D world. And you may not get, you may not get another opportunity. This may be the cycle breaking moment for you and the entire bloodline, or at least the legacy to come again, but that's to follow in your footsteps, or to be secured by your advances now, and to perpetuate any cycles of codependency by way of all the energies I've spoken of. That would be anti something. There's something anti that I want to say, but it's not coming to me. It would be regressive, for sure. With the Six of Cups, it would be regressive. You would be turning back the hands of time, even with that Four of Pentacles there, to maybe go from being a liberator of your legacy to sending it back into a cycle of poverty and scarcity all over again. And who the heck wants to do that? To go back to the days of when everybody has to work for their supper, day to day, like paycheck to paycheck, hand to mouth type of energy. Like, once you are broken free from that, you don't ever want to return to that again. Nobody would willingly. But energetically, subconsciously, psychologically, if not for allowing those energies to kind of shake off of you, filter out, be resistant to it, as that devil energy try to peek in, peek out, you could create that frequency again, not just for you, but certainly make it harder for generations to come, and almost make it null and void for your predecessors or ancestors and those that came before you to pave the way to get to this point, finally, you miss the opportunity to redeem their blood, sweat, and tears for real. You know, the ones that never did get to really see the fruit of their labor, actually, you know, in some cases, that worked for all their lives and never really had nothing in the end. You may be the saving grace for the past, present, and the future. And you certainly can't let insecurity drain you dry. Star card. Perfect. That's right. If there's anything on your back, it's that star. Not pressure, just destiny, your own, which is ultimately no pressure at all. It's just an invitation. You can receive it or decline it. But I tell you for sure, like, accepting it is what I really mean to say. Accept it or decline it. You can accept it, and it's the most fulfilling reception of your life, even with all of the work it may seem to take to readjust to living your destined path beyond the conventional or what's been expected, what's been conditioned. It's the most fulfilling walk of life you could ever have. What's that? Wow. Yeah, the Emperor, supreme control, sovereignty, by way of that frequency. One more and I'm out. Incense is gone. Judgment. Perfect ending. Absolutely gonna take it. Yep, answering to that higher calling of self. And being conscious of the decisions you make along that journey to just stay in that alignment. It's not pressure. In this regard, it's giving a second chance, like I said, not just to you or a regeneration for you, it's also for the past. It's giving the present a new opportunity to thrive away from the trajectory of a recycled karmic frequency that it may have been on the path to, had it not been for this sharp turn or shift in your own healing, first and foremost, and your devotion to yourself, but also your acceptance of the gifts in the spirit for yourself. And even you as a gift in spirit and in truth. This is what melts these two right here, insecurity banishers. To be so devoted to being your best that you don't even have time, energy, you don't have it to give. You don't have the focus, you can't be distracted, you can't, the projections that would be impactful or impressionable at a lower frequency just have nowhere to really latch on to here. Coming out of the Ace of Cups, up under that flow of unconditional love, that means from the inside out, these two together. And then like the ultimate say-so with the Judgment card, meaning that it's universally ordained on, again, here it is. If you needed the evidence of why you're worthy, why you could why you would be so lucky, so favored, so blessed. It's because of your reception of this frequency and your projection of this one as the star. That's it, that's all. Conventionally, we've been conditioned to feel like stardom looks like something different and therefore requires something different. But it's like the very opposite of what we've been told and taught. So having to close the cycle on that mentality is the hard labor. That's the hard work. To literally allow yourself to be disconnected from every which way that you've known to be yourself, even in the ways that it was disruptive to the truth of you or to the essence of you. Closing that out and being open to accepting something of a much more premium value, reflective of you, that is the hard work. That is the healing. That is the self-love and acceptance of source love. And everybody is not able or willing to do that. So why wouldn't it be so that because you are, and if that is the standard, then the reward is supreme? If you needed to know why, you needed to be affirmed as to how valuable you are, that is it. That is all. No more required. It's already been decided here in the judgment card. Because that's the ultimate flex. With the Ace of Wands, that's powerful. To live in a 3D world where literally you're told that you're not worth much. And the bar of even the standard of success or worthiness in any regard is set high and low at the same time, if that makes sense. And for you to somehow see through all of that fog and discern on your own as to how, set the standards for yourself and even raise the bar beyond what you may have experienced or what you've been exposed to, that's the ultimate power, like your own self-control, to be a self-starter to some degree, if you want to talk about job terms, to be exponentially creative, to be able to alchemize anything that you experience into something that matters, and it's something that is powerful and impactful, that makes an impression. Like, we got 3 aces out here. The only thing out here is the Ace of Swords. And here's the daggone Lovers. You know what? I'm done. Like, power couple? Is that what we on right now? And it absolutely could be that, in a material sense, like 2 people that are aligned, but consider, if nothing else, this is just the best of you holistically, reconciled in both polarities, dark and light, masculine, feminine, as above, so below, spirit and truth, carnal, or I should say primal and spiritual, but having consolidated those 2 essences of you into one whole being. Again, this is, what is it when we say, what's on your resume, like your job skills. It's been so long since I've refreshed my resume, let alone turned one in or offered one. But yeah, this is like your your qualifications, your skill sets, your strengths as the Lover's card and the Ace of Wands. You've already been chosen for whatever this role is, even if it's just a matter to be receptive of all of this energy, like it's been ordained to you, because you have presented yourself as a qualified candidate for the position. It's by way of your previous experiences, your education, your background, like all of that's been taken into account. So don't you ever believe for a second, this ain't no, what do you call it, affirmative action type of type of blessing or affluence or energy, whatever you want to call it. I hope I remember that. Affirmative action, that might be the title. This ain't that. And no shade to affirmative action, because we know why affirmative action did, has, and probably still needs to exist. However, this is about the merit of your character as to why you were chosen. This ain't about what you look like. It's not about even that you've done everything well. You have the most glimmering references, but it's something special and unique about you and what you bring to the table that makes you the top choice. It's just a matter of you now operating in that frequency. Not that you're one of many, but that you're one of one. And that's not an easy transition to make. So I definitely pray for grace for yourself. Tap into that self-love and keep affirming, I deserve this. I deserve to be here. I am, powerful. I am empowered. I am invaluable. I am worthy. I am healed. All of those. I am prosperous. I am passionate. I'm productive. I'm powerful, if I didn't say that already. All of those strong affirmations that go a long way when you got the ops trying to tell you the opposite. It makes a difference to continue to remind yourself who you are and why you are, exactly where you are having the experience that you're having, because you deserve to. If nobody else told you today, please believe me, you deserve everything that you are receiving or about to receive in spirit and in truth. All right, so thank you for listening. I feel like there's so much more and deeper I could go into this, but I'm not, because I like that this was a very powerful and positive message today, and I want to just let it be. Even if it feels a bit surface, like I like to say, you can never be assured of how amazing you are too much or too often, especially in regards to this message, because it seems like you, me, we, somebody needs to hear it, so that you can really hold the magnitude of this great gift that is being passed down either through you or to you. All right, so thank you for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.